Dun, 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 dun. So you think you want to be an English major?
I think you all do, except for Gideon.
What can you do with an English degree?
One of the points of this course is to expose you to the multitudes of careers that you can hold after you earn your English degree.
Theodore Geisel started his literary career just like you, as an undergraduate English major.
And he decided that he was going to hold a multitude of careers.
Theodore Geisel had an English degree from Dartmouth University. He took that degree and became everything he wanted to be.
Which was just about everything possible.
Everything.
Pretty much most of them.
While living the drunken college life, Teddy Geisel was a newspaper editor.
After graduating, he became a graphic designer.
And an animator.
An illustrator.
A cartoonist for the Sunday Comics.
An adult author. Yes, that is a naked lady.
A political cartoonist working for president.
A soldier.
A documentary script writer.
Screenplay writing.
And a publisher.
An entrepreneur with all the associated bills and brokenness.
A movie producer.
A musician and a composer.
A literacy advocate. Y'all better read now.
He attended grad school, but he was a dropout.
But most importantly, he was a wizard, and
This
was his wand.
During his life, he wrote over 60 books, including
And the things that I saw on Mulberry Street.
The 500 Hats of Bartholomew Cubbins.
The King's Stilt.
The 7 Lady Godivas.
Horton Hatches the End.
McGallagher's Pool.
Goodwit, the Big-Hearted Moose.
If I Ran the Zoo.
Horton Hears a Who.
Scrambled Egg Super.
On Beyond Zebra.
If I Ran the Circus.
Cat in the Hat.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Noodle the Turtle and Other Stories.
Happy Birthday to You.
Bartholomew and the Oobleck.
One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish.
Green Eggs and
The
Ham.
Sneetches and Other Stories.
10 Apples Up on Top.
Dr. Seuss's Sleep Book.
Dr.
Hop on Pop.
I had trouble in getting to Solasaloo.
Fox and Socks.
I wish I had duck feet.
Come over to my house.
Cat in the Hat Beginner Book.
The Cat in the Hat Songbook.
The Eye Book.
The Foot Book.
The Cat in the Hat Comes Back.
Sneetches and Other Stories.
My Book About Me by Me Myself.
I Can Lick 30 Tigers Today and Other Stories. King Louis Cats and the Glump That Got Thumped.
I Can Draw It Myself by Me Myself with a little help from my friend Dr. Seuss.
Mr. Brown Can Moo. Can you?
The Lorax.
Marvin K. Mooney, will you please go now?
Did I ever tell you how lucky you are?
Shape of Me and Other Stuff.
There's a rocket in my pocket.
A Great Day for Up.
Oh, the things you can think.
Because a little bug went ka-choo.
The Cat's Quizzard.
I can read with my eyes shut.
Oh, say can you say?
The Tooth Book.
Hunches in Bunches.
The Butter Battle Book.
You're only old once.
I'm not going to get up today.
Oh, the places you'll go.
Daisy Headed Maisie.
My Many-Colored Days.
And hooray for Dick
Oh.
Some of the awards that Dr. Seuss received were the Oscar for Best Documentary Feature for Design for Death,
the 1984 Pulitzer Prize Special Citation,
an honorary degree of humane letters from Dartmouth University,
an Oscar for the Best Animated Short Film for Gerald McBoing Boing,
2 Emmys for Best Children's Special, one in 1977 and one in 1982.
the 1971 Peabody Award for How the Grinch Stole Christmas and Horton Hears a Who.
The New York Public Library Literary Lion,
He had 3 Caldecott Honor Books, McGallagher's Pool, Bartholomew and the Oobleck, and If I Ran the Zoo.
the Legion of Merit Military Award,
A star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
he was voted one of Life magazine's 100 most influential people in history, and as a cultural icon.
He won the Laura Ingalls Wilder Award.
The Audrey and Theodore Geisel School of Medicine at Dartmouth University was named after him.
And every year, thousands of children across the United States celebrate Read Across America Day, which happens on Dr. Seuss's birthday.
Happy birthday, Dr. Seuss!
Dr. Seuss's books are still relevant to us today because they talk about issues that are still prevalent in society. One example of this is the Butter Battle Book, which discusses 2 warring sides and was published during the Cold War.
One of the sides buttered their bread with the butter side up, and the other side buttered it with the butter side down. And butter side down is better. And at that very instant, we heard a clup clup of feet on the wall, and old Van Itch clumped up. The boys in his back room had made him one too. In his fist was another big boy, Bomaroo. I'll blow you, he yelled, into pork and wee beans. I'll butter side up you to small smithereens. Grandpa, I shouted, be careful, oh gee! Who's going to drop it? Will you or will he? Be patient, said Grandpa. We'll see. We will see.
The Butter Battle Book was published during the Cold War and centers around the equivalent of a nuclear arms race.
It mirrors what was happening in the United States at the time, with one side being the United States, and the other side being Russia, both in a race to get the best arms, and both ending up in a standoff with nuclear weapons, seeing who would fire first. This is still a problem that we face today, with countries amassing arms and standing ready to attack each other.
This helps us know a little bit more about what it's like to be in a tense situation and how to handle conflict.
I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees.
I'm busy, I told him. Shut up, if you please. And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard the tree fall, the very last truffle tree of them all. But now, said the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. Environmentalism was a huge movement in the 70s, which is when this book came out. It also talks a lot about activism and how important it is for normal people in the community to step up and take a stand against something that is wrong.
This book has received a lot of criticism, especially in logging communities, where it has even been banned from certain schools. However, this issue is still something that needs to be looked at and is still very relevant for today.
In a world where global warming and other such environmental issues are still argued, we need this book because it explains that speaking up about issues that affect our environment means that we're talking about things that affect us.
But McBean was quite wrong, I'm quite happy to say. The Sneetches got really quite smart on that day, the day they decided that Sneetches are Sneetches and no kind of Sneetch is the best on the beaches. That day all the Sneetches forgot about stars, and whether they had one or not upon the...
The Sneetches is a book about two groups of Sneetches, those with star bellies and those with plain bellies. The star-bellied Sneetches think they're better than the other Sneetches because of the stars on their belly. However, they're not really that different from the other Sneetches. Then Sylvester McMonkey McBean comes into town with his new fantastic star-bellied machine. He uses this to put stars on the bellies of the plain-bellied Sneetches. However, when all the Sneetches have stars on their bellies, they realize that the stars are not making them very important, and so they get their stars removed. And they go back and forth for a really long time until they're all out of money and Sylvester McMonkey McBean leaves. The Sneetches are then left to decide if they're really that different from each other and if one thing can make one better than another.
This is a book that highlights racial and religious bigotry as an issue. It talks about the Sneetches in the context of different races and how one race might believe that they're better than each other, but that really, at the core, just people. This book would be relevant for us to add to the English syllabus because racial and religious bigotry is still very much an issue in today's society.
And that yawp, that one small extra yawp put it over. Finally, at last, from that speck on the clover, their voices were heard. They rang out clear and clean, and the elephant smiled. Do you see what I mean? They've proved they are persons, no matter how small. And their whole world was saved by the smallest of all.
Horton Hears a Who is about a friendly elephant that finds a people on a small speck of dust on a clover, and he is committed to protecting them, even though his friends think that it is foolish. At the end of the book, the Who's, the people on the clover, all band together to create a voice for themselves.
This is important because it talks about marginalized people and how empowering those whose voices we don't hear as often is a very important part of having a successful society.
The focus of the book is that a person is a person, no matter how small. So every person's voice matters because we are all people. This book is still important today because issues of individuality and oppression are still very much a part of our society. You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what you know. And you are the guy who will decide where you go.
Oh, the Places You'll Go chronicles a journey of self-discovery, of empowerment, and of realizing that sometimes you're going to make the wrong choice, and that's okay.
It's a journey of life, a journey which we've all embarked on, a journey which we're all in the middle of. It answers one of the age-old questions of the English department, which is,
What are you going to do with an English major?
By saying that the answer is obvious. You can do anything that you choose.
Dr. Seuss set an example of this in his life when he showed that you should never let man's restrictions get in the way.
He wrote entire new alphabets for some of his books and was willing to make up any word that he needed to make something rhyme.
He showed that man is not bound by language.
But that language is bound by man.
He was a true master of words, which is what we are all endeavoring to become. Reading his books allows us to see that we don't need to let anything hold us back. The English and the world are ours for the taking.
And the best part is, the books are so short that we could read a lot of them and only spend a day or two.
It's also important to recognize that most messages, when given to people, are not presented in 800-word novels. They're told in stories that even children can understand.
Also, his books are just flat out fun. And I think all of us can attest to the fact that sometimes we need a little more joy in our lives.
For the good of the generations of English majors that are going to pass through the English department, we encourage you to add Dr. Seuss and all of his wonderful works to the syllabus for the English 2025